Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ask the CEO with Avrohom. Today, I'd like to introduce a very special guest. He's the founder and CEO of ElectrifAi, a company that leverages artificial intelligence and machine learning via their suite of products to drive profit improvement, increase performance, and risk reduction. As part of this discussion, we will share how their partnership with Microsoft, their use of Azure, and the Azure Marketplace have empowered them to scale and grow their business. It is my pleasure to welcome Edward Scott. Welcome.
Avrohom, it's great to be with you again.
It's great to be with you as well, Ed. Pleasure speaking with you again. So, Ed, you work in a very exciting industry. I love anything with AI, and artificial intelligence is very prevalent nowadays, especially in healthcare. And providers are converting their data to digital format to leverage the benefits of the latest innovations in technology. What are some of the challenges healthcare providers face when they try to go digital?
I think there are two principal challenges, Avrohom, and ElectrifAi tries to get at practical solutions, practical machine learning solutions to help these healthcare providers and payers on their AI and ML journey. But the principal challenge that providers and payers face is that their data is located in many disparate systems, in Epic systems, Cerner systems, Allscripts systems, SAP systems, Oracle systems. It's just spread out all over the place across the enterprise. It's very hard to get at that data. And what we do at ElectrifAi is we have 15 years of experience of being able to collect all that data out of each and every system and transform that data into data that's actually usable for our machine learning models to create insights for the payers and providers to run their business, to drive revenue, to reduce cost, and to reduce risk. So the principal issue for all of these players in the healthcare system is the disparate, disconnected data across all these systems. And for ElectrifAi, we are absolutely agnostic as to where we get the data and how we transform it and to where we return it. Totally agnostic. And today we handle tens of terabytes of data from many of the world's leading hospitals and payers and so forth, and turning that data into insights so they can run their business better each and every day. The second problem for many of the providers is that their data is frozen. Many of the software providers have actually sold to payers and providers on the need for data lakes. And that's essentially the repository where payers and providers will put all their data. But that's not enough. In fact, we talk at ElectrifAi as to how many of the payers and providers' data is actually frozen. It's frozen in a lake. You can't get it. And one of the things that ElectrifAi does in colloquial terms,
it electrifies it.
We electrify that lake, and we bring that data lake to life and let the payer provider get at that. So let me give you an example, a real-time example. Let's talk COVID-19. And ElectrifAi is on the front end, leading edge of the war against COVID-19. And we're doing that with advanced image technology. Many providers, leading cancer institutes, leading hospitals across the world have 40, 50 years of MRI data, CAT scan data, X-ray data. But you know what? You can't get at that data. And the reason why you can't get at that data is it's stuck. It's stuck in these data lakes. It's unstructured data. And we at ElectrifAi have come up with a way to actually annotate that data and actually convert those pixels into numbers such that the images that you're looking for become queryable, almost in mimicking SQL, if you will. So, for example, we're talking to some of the largest hospitals in New York State about the 50 years of data, of X-rays, of breast tumors, and turning that unstructured X-ray data into queryable structured data about particular locations of the tumor, about particular locations of where the patients lived, and so forth, so that we can get at how to actually turn that data into a real insight. And we're seeing this, today, right now, with COVID-19. ElectrifAi has actually come up with a way to take images of infected lungs and turn that unstructured data those pixels into ones and zeros, and to be able to identify the actual specific features of the COVID-19 virus, and to put that into what is in essence a database, and to be able to compare, for example, lungs that have pneumonia versus lungs that have COVID-19. It's phenomenal. So when we think about the problems that the providers typically have today, payers and providers, it's number one, you've got data everywhere. It's all over the place. You need a way to bring it in. It's not enough just to bring it into a data lake. You actually have to transform that data, prepare it for machine learning, so you can turn that machine learning actually into an insight that helps you run your business each and every day. So that's number one. And then number two is, as I mentioned, this data is frozen in those lakes, and we've got to unfreeze it. We have the machine learning products that do that.
I mean, this is super exciting because, you know, we have medical technology. We can solve so many problems. What's lacking is information. And
Sure.
The information is there. It's like you said, it's frozen. And sometimes it just seems so silly how you have so many people that suffer from different types of ailments, chronic ailments that nobody knows what to do about. And the fact that you have this ability, it's just really exciting.
Well, think about, you know, in our area where we are in the New York area, there have been cancer clusters across various cities in Long Island, and many women have suffered needlessly, frankly, from breast cancer. And think about the ability to take those images and turn those images not from static sort of pixels into that which is queryable and, you know, almost in a database. But think about the power of doing that, of looking at those images and being able to say, okay, here's how we now have a way to search those images and to see how the body responded to specific treatment. Think about the power of that. That's the power of AI, the power of ML. But you got to be able to get at the data. You've got to unfreeze these data lakes, and that's what we're aiming to do.
Yes. Now, so let's elaborate a little bit more on this. How is ElectrifAi helping healthcare providers through its AI-based solution set?
So we're doing it principally in two very practical ways, and in one very innovative way. So let's take the practical ways. When we think about AI and ML, what that means really to us is we sell in the C-suite, and we're dealing with the CEOs, the CFOs, the chief procurement officers, the chief marketing officers, and so forth. And our practical machine learning products help improve the businesses of these payers and providers every day. And they do it by being able to dial up the revenue and reduce the cost and reduce the risk. So let's take a very practical example. Number one, our revenue cycle model actually uses machine learning to capture missed charges from the hospitals that were never billed. So let's think about that.
That's big.
Let's think about that. Most hospitals are approximately a 2 to 4% net margin business at best. Most around the U.S. So think about if you're a CFO of a hospital or board of a hospital, and somewhere between 1 to 3% of your total revenue is unbilled because you didn't capture the charges. We capture those charges in machine learning. How do we do it? We take data feeds from Epic and Cerner and other EMRs, and our machine learning models examine those bills before they go out to the payers, and they actually look at the procedures to make sure that all of the revenue has actually been captured for a specific procedure. And they do it in a couple ways. Were the actual fields filled out properly? If the fields weren't filled out properly, were they miscoded? How do we recode them properly? And once that's done, those machine learning models feed that information back to the hospital, and the hospital can see, oh, wow, Avrohom had his shoulder done. The original bill was missing 4 of the 10 fields. But now we can see, using ElectrifAi's machine learning, filling in all of the fields, the patient goes back into the Epic EMR system, a new bill is generated, and it goes out to United Health or Cigna or Aetna and so forth. That's what we call Revenue AI, our charge capture. It's all done in machine learning, no rules, no people. It's a phenomenal tool. And generally, when a hospital spends $1 with us, they see $6 back within 6 months. So it pays for itself. Yeah. That's number one. That's very practical. And we're delighted to be able to help the hospitals in their journey on ML to capture each and every single incremental marginal dollar so they can apply it to the place where it really matters, to care and in the ER and in the ORs. So we're doing our part to help them on this journey. We have over 200 hospitals working with us today, hospitals like Trinity, Tenet, Bon Secours, Mercy. These are big systems, very, very complicated. And as I said earlier, the beauty about ElectrifAi is our systems and our machine learning sits on top of a payer's or provider's existing investments. They don't have to rip it out. We can take data feeds from anywhere and apply it into our machine learning models and create the insights and the revenue increases or cost reductions. So revenue AI is the first thing. The second thing is procurement AI. We're among the best in the world, Avrohom, at procurement. We do it for many of the Fortune 250 today. We give them an incredibly granular view of where they're spending all of their dollars each and every day, each and every year. We do it for over 60 of the Fortune 250 right now. And what we do is we take all of their spend and we show each of the hospitals and all of our corporate clients exactly what categories they're spending their dollars on, and in what granular subcategories as well, and with what vendors. And what comes out is an incredibly powerful view of with whom, where you're spending your dollars and with whom. And a decision maker can see, wow, I have 8, 9, or 10 vendors in one category when I only need 2 or 1. And I can use that information as leverage to eliminate the unnecessary vendors and to create better leverage points for purchasing with the 1 or 2 that I decide to go with. But we don't stop there. We actually connect their spend with their contracts, all using AI and ML. So all of their spend is actually matched against the contracts that they have entered into with all of their vendors. So we connect the world of what happened with what was supposed to happen. So let's say that I'm a large hospital up in Boston, and I'm buying, let's say, $100 million worth of catheters every year. And I was supposed to get a 0.5 point to 1% discount on every incremental dollar above 75 million, for example. We now give them the ability to do that because we match the spend against what the contractual rights and privileges were. It's incredibly powerful. We do it for the largest corporations and we do it for the largest hospitals. So it's quite practical. So there you can see we're turning that revenue dial for the hospital, and we're actually turning that cost dial, giving them more buying power and leverage. And then the third area, as we mentioned earlier, is on the innovation. The ability to unlock all that unstructured data in the data lake, to clean it, to normalize it, to transform it, to prepare it for machine learning models, to do the things that we're doing with the government and other leading institutions with regard to COVID-19, which I'm sure you probably saw on the internet when we put our call out for images on Friday night. It's an incredibly exciting time to be working in the machine learning space, no doubt, but it's a much more exciting time to be working in the healthcare space, making a difference for the lives of practitioners and for hospital administrators. We love it.
You know, I mean, this is exciting on many levels. So, you know, let's just start with one. Let's take the imaging, for example,
Sure.
right? The bigger your data set, the better the processing AI can do. One of the challenges that I think we have in healthcare is the siloed mentality, where, you know, the different healthcare provider systems, they're all siloed. There's no way to easily share and cross-reference data. Do you see this evolving to where, you know, I could submit my own anonymized healthcare records for the betterment of humanity, and vice versa, and then grow our healthcare abilities exponentially?
Well, I think there are a number of important concepts in what you brought up, Avrohom. So let's try to unpack this a little bit and get at this notion of the data. Take a large hospital system, you know, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 beds, whatever you want to consider. They're going to have Oracle, they're going to have SAP, they're going to have Epic, they're going to have something from Optum. They're going to have a lot of different, you know, systems that are running in and around their operations that, no surprise, have been accumulated and installed over time as various administrations or various needs and requirements were put forth. In fact, this is very similar to what we see in the corporate world. And it's even more complicated today when hospitals are merging. And we're seeing many hospitals merge to try to gain economies of scale, both with regard to purchasing and revenue. And this is making the problem that you're highlighting of all these disparate systems and all the data in disparate systems even more pronounced. And so what's really required is the ability for someone to actually sit on top of those investments, not to rip them out. No need to rip out SAP or Oracle or Epic or Cerner. No. But the ability to actually suck out all those data from those systems and to transform that data to make it clean. And that's really the important part of what you were referring to, Avrohom. You've got to have clean data. When you have clean data, when you've done all of the cleansing, the normalization, the data quality management, the data is prepared for a machine learning model. And when it's prepared for a machine learning model, the insights can be gathered. And when those insights can be gathered, business unit holders, whether they're the CFO, the chief marketing officer, or the chief medical officer on the clinical side, or the chief procurement officer, then those insights can be put in their hands immediately for immediate action to take to improve the results of the hospital. But this disparate, disconnected nature of data, it is fundamental. It's the problem across America.
Yeah.
And our machine learning capabilities in our 15 years of working in healthcare, 15 years of dealing with truly messy data, it gives us an advantage to be able to bring that data to life. Not only to collect it from the different systems, but also when it's in a data lake to clean even when it's in a data lake, to clean it, to transform it, to normalize it, to put it in a data warehouse or a data mart, and then to apply our machine learning models against it. That's the value. And so many institutions across the United States and indeed across the world have had difficulty with data. In fact, we were talking about this today at our weekly management committee meeting, when we always discuss what's the state of data. And many corporations have failed with regard to implementing machine learning and AI products, and probably 50-50. And the reason why many have failed is that many went out and said, you know what, I'm just going to go hire a whole bunch of data scientists who are going to take this data and turn that data into an insight. And that's not it. That's actually backwards. You've actually got to take the data, collect it, transform it, normalize it, clean it, put it in a position that it's actually can be used by a data scientist. And that's a mindset that hospital administrators and professionals, and indeed not just in the hospital world, but in the federal world and in the corporate world, they have to get themselves ready for that transition and that journey. And they have to recognize the initial steps. The initial steps are to collect all of your data, to put it in a data lake, and then to clean the data that's in the data lake. And that's even before it gets to the data scientists. And many have learned that lesson the hard way, but we're on that journey. And I think as a country, we're making incredible progress. And certainly the healthcare sector is making significant progress in this area. We're glad to be part of it.
For sure. So how would a healthcare provider use your solution with Azure?
Well, a couple ways. We have 5 products up on the Azure Marketplace right now. All of them are our image product, our RevenueAI, our mischarge capture product that we discussed, our image AI product, our procurement product, and several others. And all these individuals really have to do is go to the Azure Marketplace, and actually you can actually search on a couple things on the Azure Marketplace: electrifai.imageai, electrifai.procurementai, and electrifai.revenueai. Those are the 3 that we discussed in the podcast here, and I think those would be the 3 that would interest people. And you can go directly to the Azure Marketplace and find them with those links.
Great. And I'll put that in the show notes along with the link to the Azure Marketplace, so people can get right to it.
Yeah, we're super excited to be partnered with Azure, and the healthcare team. David Holding and his team have done a magnificent job of actually reaching out to firms such as ours to actually bring innovation to the marketplace, bring the marketplace alive in a way that to show the world of what's available today. And this is changing so rapidly, so quickly, and we're pleased to be partnered with Azure in this journey as well.
Great. Can you share a little bit with how partnering with Microsoft has helped ElectrifAi scale and grow your business?
Sure. I think since even in the couple of weeks that we've had products up on the marketplace itself, we've gotten a tremendous amount of inbound calls of what is RevenueAI, what is ImageAI, what is Procurement AI, how does it all work? Does it work for a payer? Does it work for a provider? Does it work for a physician group practice? All these questions come in. So the multiplicative effect of being up on the Azure Marketplace speaks for itself. The power of Microsoft speaks for itself, and the community effect speaks for itself. So it's had a tremendous opportunity, a tremendous impact on our business, and we've just gotten going. I can only imagine what the coming years are going to look like.
Awesome. And how do people connect with you?
Oh my God, many ways. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can, of course, get us on on the internet at www.electrifai.net. And you can follow us at Twitter at Electrifai. Those would be the 3 best places to connect with us.
And how can people find out more about Microsoft partnership opportunities for healthcare partners?
Well, that's a great question. There's a great website for that, which is HealthcareIndExp at Microsoft.com. So I'll say that again, HealthcareIndExp at Microsoft.com. And I think that'll lead your viewers and listeners to a whole world of opportunity of what's available on Azure.
Awesome. And do you have any parting words of wisdom that you'd like to share with the audience?
Well, I think, first of all, ElectrifAi, we've been doing this for 15 years, serving healthcare payers and providers on their journey for machine learning. And I think it's very important for our own employees and our customers to understand, even though we have a lot of experience doing this, we bring to their table, to the payers and providers table, humility of the difficulty of the journey of this. This is not easy. And getting an organization prepared for machine learning and artificial intelligence and getting the data ready, just as we discussed, Avrohom, if you can't just throw your data into a data lake and hope it's all going to work. You got to have clean data, and an organization has to be on that journey. But I think that organizations that commit to that and to that workflow will see enormous benefits in the ability to drive revenue and reduce cost and risk. And we're here to help them on that journey. And we bring a dollop of humility with all of our experience. And it's an absolute pleasure to be serving over 200 hospitals today. We hope to be doing 200, 300 more in the next coming years, and all the payers as well. And it's been great to be with you, Avrohom, to be on this podcast journey with you.
Well, Ed, thank you so much for sharing your time and your wisdom. I really enjoyed having you on the show.
My pleasure, Avrohom. We look forward to seeing you very soon.